Hi everyone, Curtis here from Goth Rider Creations, and in today's episode, hopefully, we're actually going to finish off the silent zombie. Stay tuned. So, here we are again. First of all, I really want to apologise for how long it's been since the last episode. You know, people always say life gets in the way. Well, life got in the way, knocked me to the ground, and then kicked me repeatedly in the knackers. It's been a really crap month. We've had multiple rather expensive repairs to the house. I only just got the car back from the garage yesterday to find out there's something else wrong and it's got to go straight back. And at the time of filming, I have 3 days left at my job until I'm unemployed. So yeah, it's been fun. So as I'm sure you can imagine, the build has been the last thing on my mind, and you can probably tell by the hazing on the edge of the screen and the steam coming out of my breath, the weather has changed a little bit. So enough of my aggro. This is where we are with the silent zombie. Now, obviously, this isn't the white that it has been of recently. I had to give up on that undercoat. As much as it is really, really good stuff, it wasn't drying quick enough. And with the temperatures we're now getting, I've not got many opportunities to paint. So I was painting a coat, going in, coming back the next day. I mean, granted, the humidity didn't help, it still wasn't dry, so I just had to bite the bullet. Now, thankfully, the pound shop that I bought the spray paint from also does a primer, and it turns out it's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. So, yeah, so shelled out £2.50 for the undercoat and £2.50 for the paint that you've already seen. So this is where we are, and I will get the side camera in there because I know a couple of people, especially Bill, Borgonian Evolution, saying that he wanted close-ups of the finish. So here we are. I've been digging around with the cavities, just cleaning up all of the edges to make sure that it's absolutely silky smooth. Mrs. Goth Rider said that actually she wanted a little bit of wood grain in there, so it didn't just look like it was a spray shop special. So I have left a little bit of the wood grain in there. Yeah, you know. So there we are. And the neck is done as well, for good measure. So that is all undercoated, sanded, and done. So very happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is see if I can get any windows where the temperature gets up just enough that I can paint this thing. I've got to paint it first before I do the resin. As I said last time, all of the little recesses and everything need the black paint in there before I put all the resin, otherwise you might see some of the undercoat through. So I'm hoping this afternoon I might get just warm enough that I could chuck a coat on this, and I'll show you how that looks. Hi everyone, so here we are, day, I don't even know anymore. So it's a couple of days after we've sprayed it, and we are now lovely. I didn't have any major reactions with the paint, considering it was like -1. I was really surprised. But I literally just ran outside, gave it a quick 2-3 sort of coat on coat, and then ran into the house, put the guitar in the porch so it wasn't as cold as outside, and just left it for 3 or 4 hours to actually sort of touch dry. Then brought it into the house and sat it up in the living room so the temperature didn't get too low. So all in all, I'm quite happy. The neck's turned out really good as well, so I'll take it. Mrs. Goth Rider is exceptionally happy, so that's all I care about. Anyone would think I would entered into some kind of guitar competition for me to worry, but I'm really, really not. So that's all done. Now it's time for the resin. What you might notice is that I have put some little packers underneath the neck and the body because you want to make sure it is absolutely dead level before you do anything else, because yeah, otherwise the resin's just going to be all over the place and you don't need that. And Ben from Crimson Guitars always says about the man who has the most tools wins. Well, check out the tiny little spirit level. I'm very proud of that. So yes, so I can double check that everything is perfectly level on both the neck and the body. So we're all ready to go. Now, this is not going to be the way it should be done. The original plan I had was to just get it primed, then pour the resin, then sand it back flush, then use masking fluid to very carefully mask out all the details of these inlays, which would have taken months, then re-coat with the primer and the top coat, and then peel back that masking. Oh, and before that, varnish so the resin was smooth. Yeah, not enough time, and to be honest, I don't think it needs it. So we are going to go for the other option, which is just to put the resin in after the fact. Now, as long as I don't make any mistakes, as long as I don't make any drips or any smudges, or I don't overfill, this can work. If any of those things happen, we're screwed and we're back to plan A. So there is a high chance this could fail, but I'm hopeful I can get enough resin into these cavities without having any major screw-ups. So yeah. Now the body is going to be nice and easy because all of these inlays are all self-contained. With this, the routing goes right out to the edge. So what I'm going to have to do is make a tape dam around the outside edge to try and stop the resin either falling down and disappearing or going over the top edge. So this is going to be the difficult part. I'm just going to quickly tape up all of these edges, and the fun part, we'll see if top camera can get this. Oh, this line here intersects the truss rod cavity. So I'm going to have to put a bit of tape inside that concaved area to try and stop any resin flowing back and going up the truss rod. So that's also yet another complication. Why can't I build easy guitars? Anyway, let me get this all taped up and then we can look at the resin. Right, and there we have it. So, not exactly pretty, but it will do the trick. So, that's that. Now it's time for the resin. Now, obviously, with this being the budget build, you wouldn't really do resin inlays if you were trying to keep it on a budget. I like to push my abilities a little bit. So, we are going for a, well, as cheap as you can do a resin build. Now, I am reusing existing resin. And there we have it. What's left over from a resin table build that I did a couple of years ago. We've got about ½ a kilo left of this, which is more than enough for these inlays. Now, obviously, we can't budget for that, so I've looked on Amazon and Wish and places like that, and here is the cheapest art resin kit that I could find. So we're going to add that to the budget, so at least people don't think I'm being too cheeky. Now, the thing that would take us over budget would be the mica powders. Now, you can use pretty much anything to colour a resin. Try not to use anything water-based where at all possible. I know some people that have managed to colour using art paints and things like that, but the water content, although quite small, will actually affect the curing of the resin. So you can use inks, you can use alcohol colorants. I prefer to use mica powders myself, but even just a basic combo set, you're looking 5-6 quid for the cheapest ones, so that's not an option. Mrs. Goth Rider, the amazing creature she is, has donated me one of her eyeshadow palettes. Now, this is amazing. It has got all of the beautiful colours you can imagine, metallics, mattes, everything. Now, for your own safety and the safety of other people in your house, do not take one of these without your wife, girlfriend, child, or other significant other's permission. You take this and turn it into resin, and then your spouse, your other half, your nearest and dearest, go to do their makeup and they find chunks of it missing. I've got a feeling other parts of your body will go missing as well, and they will end up on the mantelpiece. Don't do it. She has been very kind and has let me use some of these, so that is what I'm using, and I have already pre-prepared a few different colours to go into the resin. So I've literally taken another one of these makeup palettes, and then I took a disc of matte, a disc of metallic, and a disc of chunky flake of the colours we want for this. I know I promised that it would be green resin and UV, but it just wasn't in the budget. So, and to be honest, with the unicorn horn headstock, Mrs. Goth Rider wanted a rainbow, and I'm not arguing. So that's what we've got for that. We have our resin, and all we've got to do is mix it all up and get started. Now, the only issue is, normally I would just mix in the cups, pour out, and done. I can't do that because I'm going to try and be really, really careful. So I have dug out of my old supplies my dentistry syringes, and these are absolutely perfect for getting into the little areas that we need. So it is a bit of a waste to use 6 of these on this, but I have them here, so it's not exactly a major issue. So it will literally just be a case of really carefully filling up all of these cavities with the resin, and then same again with these areas. And I also have some chopped up throwing them everywhere, bamboo skewers, so hopefully I can pop any bubbles and try and walk the resin into any of the tight gaps. So as I say, I'm going to try and do this. It might be a failure, but it's worth a go, because I don't want to have to paint this thing again. So what we will do is start knocking this up and just go to town, really. That's enough waffling. Let's get started. Right, and there we have it. I'm really happy with how the body's turned out. I had a couple of light spills early on when I was doing the Z, but that's actually come out really cleanly. The rest of the letters are absolutely perfect, so I really can't argue with it. The headstock unfortunately hasn't gone as well as I'd hoped. Where I've sanded it, I think I've actually sanded a slight sort of back into it, where the tuner's side, and yeah, all of the resin has kind of pulled down. Even though I checked it with the spirit level, obviously the center is level, but it kind of curves off. So all of the resin I poured is now kind of pooling at one end. It is deep enough on this side that once it's cured it will be fine, but it does mean I'm going to have to resand, so that is a little bit annoying, but it's going to be much easier for me to use maybe 2mm wide fine line masking tape to actually mask those lines, then respray, sand, whatever. So if it was on the body, that would have really sucked. On the headstock, I can actually live with that. That's not a major issue. If I've just got to respray the front and the sides of the headstock, it's another 2-3 hours work, but it's not the end of the world. So I am actually really happy with that. Colour's nice and vibrant. It looks great. I'm calling that done. So that is now going to sit there for the next 2 to 3 days so it can get hard enough that I can work on it. And yeah, see you in 72 hours. So here we are, a couple of days later, and we are done. So happy with how that's turned out. Let's see if side camera. Yeah, love that. So yeah, really happy with the body. That's exactly how I wanted it. The neck, not so much. It did bleed. I did get enough coverage, but yeah, you can see all the gunk on the sides. So yeah, unlucky, but it was worth a try. So what we're going to do first is, rather than get all this sanding, as I've got the neck all taped up, I'm going to do the fretwork now. The sides of the frets actually feel really nice. It all feels quite good. I did check it when it was still in the workshop, and it is perfectly level. So all we're going to do is literally just do a down and dirty fret job on it. I'm hoping that it's actually not too bad. Well, that's not a good sign to start with. That's okay. You don't even need to see that, you can hear that. Wow. And they're not even as well, they're rocking on one bit and perfect on another. Yeah, this is actually going to need some work. So yeah, let's get this sharpied up, get some tape, get some sandpaper on that leveling beam, and let's go to work. Right, okay. That took a little bit more than I thought it was going to, but yeah, those are now all nice and level. I literally just put a piece of 240 on there. It's not quite long enough, but it seemed to do all right. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is just get the crowning file out, go through all of them again, and then I will just do a little bit of sandpaper polishing, get them up to a half decent level. I'm not going to worry about polishing the frets just yet. Worst comes to worst, I'll use the little metal protectors you get with the kits and polish it that way, because I just want to crack on with this. But yeah, so let me remark these, get the crowning done, polish it up, and we can call the frets done. Right, so there we have it, lovely shiny frets. It's probably not the way you're meant to do it, but I just like the idea of being able to sand one grit and then sand another grit and then sand another grit. It does make life a lot easier to be able to see any sort of scratches. But yeah, I think that looks absolutely brilliant. Looks a hell of a lot better than it did before. But yeah, no, that feels really nice. No sharp edges. So yeah, all I've got to do is just polish the frets, put a bit of the coconut oil that I used last year, and yeah, that's the fret work done. So hey, nice and easy. So now what we'll do is we'll crack out the sandpaper and try and get rid of all of this resin. Yay. Right, after a bit more sanding, there we are. So we've still got the shine in the centre. There's maybe a millimetre on the edges that is dulled because I've had to sand off all the excess. But I don't actually think it will be all that noticeable once it's painted. So the original plan was that I was going to use some of my fine line tape. I had some 3mm and some 2mm, and I was going to literally just tape off just those sections, but I was going to lacquer it first, use a gloss lacquer, because then that would bring back up the shine of any of the dull areas. But it turns out there's so few dull areas, I'm really not concerned. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see on side camera. You've got a bit of dullness there on the green, but the rest of it is actually looking quite nice and shiny. So I think actually I might have gotten away with that. Worst comes to worst, I painted it. If it does look awful, then I will mask, I will use a fine brush and lacquer in those edges, but at the moment it actually looks pretty good. So I will mask off just the resin, and then this is ready. Well, obviously I need to mask off the fretboard as well, and then that will be ready for hopefully the last coat of paint. Let's see. Right, and finally, there we are. Fretboard all masked up, got the fine line tape in there, so I think we're ready to go. So yeah, coat of primer, a couple of coats of black, and we should be in business. I won't film it because I haven't filmed any of the spraying, and yeah, you don't want to see my messy garden. So I will run outside. It is a little bit damp, but it is 11 degrees today, so almost tropical. So I will just get this hung up and whack as many coats as allowing in what's left of that can of paint. I'm amazed it stretched as far as it has. So yes, I will probably see you tomorrow for the reveal. And here we have it. A few hours later, all done. So let's try and unmask this and see how we did. And there we have it, people. I couldn't be more happy with that. If I wanted to be, that is absolutely perfect. It's come out so beautifully. Got all the colours. Absolutely love it. So yes, we have the neck, we have the body, and just for you guys, powers of editing, there she is. Complete, sorted. I could not be happier with that result. Oh, can we get that? See if side camera will show us everything. So there she is. We have one complete guitar. So I'm gonna have to leave it there for this one because yeah, running out of time. So in the next episode I will get the shielding paint done on the cavities. We will install the hardware, get the electronics soldered up and in, get her strung up, and she's done. It is literally that close. I didn't think I would get to this point, so very happy with that. That's all sorted, and I think I will see you all next time. Take care.